Welcome back to Bonding Over Bourbon. I'm
And
Chris.
I'm Kat.
We're excited for this one.
We are excited. We have some special guests. We have good bottles to talk about. I'm excited.
We have some big announcements.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks since the last live stream.
Yeah.
Uh, Birthday weekend was a little nuts.
Yeah. And pivoting. I feel like we're always pivoting.
Yeah, doing bourbon haul videos and like bourbon hunting like store videos is fun, but it's not always fruitful. There were a couple of days that we spent a number of hours just walking around, honestly, walking from store to store, driving from store to store, trying to see if we could find a cool place worth filming, but doesn't always work.
Yeah. I think people don't realize the amount of liquor stores that we go into is absurd.
Yeah.
Like the amount that we like walk around, we check it out, the amount that are just like so sad that you question how they're still in business is a lot.
Yeah, straight up museums. Honestly, sometimes it's a little upsetting.
Or just like bare shelves where they just have like one bottle of like Elijah Craig and uh
A
like
brand you've never heard of.
yeah, a brand you never heard of, and then like a Old Forester mojito, and you're like, why do you have one of those?
Oh, you mean the mint julep one?
Yeah, the mint julep. Yeah,
The other cocktail that takes forever to make at a bar. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We had to pivot a few times. We found a few cool things. We did the distillery tour at Silver Tree
yeah,
and ended up coming across a number of dusty bottles that we're gonna save as a surprise for our bottle
Ooh.
haul this month.
it's a good one though.
It is good. Kind of want to preface that up until this last weekend, we only bought 4 bottles for the month.
We were so good.
Yeah, and then this week we had one of our contacts reach out to us, was like, hey, I got this in, I got that in, like, what do you want? And we're basically just running around going like, okay, I guess we tried.
Yeah, we were so good.
We're still doing better.
Yeah, normally we would have like half the shelf taken up, and it's like a quarter of a way there.
Not even a quarter.
Yeah.
There's 4, 5. Do you have any over there?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, 6. We have
Six?
7 bottles so far this month.
4
Four-
are repeats of each other.
Yeah, and then 2 of them are also repeats of each other.
Yeah,
So it's been an interesting month.
we behaved.
Yes. We're already almost through it. We only have 8 more days, and if we could make it under 10 bottles this month, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Pro-
absolutely.
Probably will be one of our shortest bottle haul videos yet, but if we set a goal and we're trying to reach it, I mean, nobody can say we didn't try.
I always joke about our bottle hauls because I feel like it's like show and tell when you go into school. And, it's like,
And here's the stag I got.
and I was fortunate enough to get it when it just dropped. And
But my dad says you can't have just one. They need a friend, so I got a second one. Yeah, I definitely kind of feel that. It's interesting, but we like sharing what we get with you guys. We like telling you why they're worth picking up.
yeah,
Every once in a while, we'll get a message from somebody either on one of the groups we're on Discord or somebody else's group, and they'll just be like, hey, I went to go and pick this up because you said it was great. Like, thank you so much. Like, I would never have known about it if it wasn't for you guys. And that's ultimately what we want to do with this, kind of flatten the knowledge for the industry to basically make sure more people know about things.
yeah. Especially all like the Midwest brands too.
There's so many slept on brands.
There are so many slept on brands.
Like Silver Tree, we've overlooked them like
Silver Tree.
at least like 10 times. Oh yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
realize you put that one on.
It's such a good t-shirt. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm already sweating though. I feel like I need to turn the heat down.
Well, the night's gonna get a lot worse.
Oh no.
I'll go take care of the heat. Let's say hi to people in the chat.
Yeah, just turn it down like 1. All right. So I see Dustin in the chat. Hello, hello. And King Bourbon. Hello, both. I hope both of you are watching. And Russ L. Cheers. Mary. Cheers as always. And our special guests that are in the queue as well. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, we'll bring them in probably about 15 more minutes.
Yeah. Get, acclimated.
Yeah.
Get all warmed up. I'm still on my warm-up pour.
Did you figure out what it is yet?
No. I also, we ate and I brushed my teeth. So I'm, struggling to get anything other than,
mint.
Cool. I was going to say cool, you know?
It tastes cool.
Yeah, it's, cold in your mouth.
Yeah. On that note, do you want some more time to think about it, or do you want to guess?
Give me 3 more minutes.
All right. Spoiler alert, it's Numbskull. The chocolate mint one.
What if you did put that in here?
Yes. What if I did?
What? Wouldn't that be so funny?
Yeah.
It's better than the peanut butter one if you want to kill me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if those are even actually with peanut butter in it. It just says flavored. But that's a whole nother topic for another video that I probably won't want to make. But I'll make it if you guys want to see it. So before we get into all of our news, for those that are watching, let us know in the chat what you guys are drinking tonight. And then I'm excited to tell you what this one is because I don't think you'll guess it. But take your time.
I have 3 minutes. Well, I have 2.5 minutes now.
All right.
I'm counting down in my head.
I was going to give you 10 more minutes, but that's
10
fine.
minutes.
It's too late. You gave yourself 2.5 minutes.
Oh, is this from Kentucky?
Yes.
Is it a legacy brand?
No. Well, not technically. It has changed hands several times and renamed several times. And that juice is in that glass, but it is not distilled from that label. Sourced whiskey with a different label.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, TLDR.
TLDR. Yeah, of course. Interesting.
Yeah, just think about it.
It's a sourced whiskey.
Just marinate.
From a legacy brand that is not currently distributing from a legacy brand.
Correct.
Okay, I think.
Yeah, you think about it.
Dustin's drinking United. Sorry.
United.
Why do I want to say Union?
Your brain just went done.
Yeah, I was just yeah, we're flying. And then it thought no more. It was just put those words out in the universe. And I was like, okay.
It thought no more. I'm going to start using that. My brain thought no more.
Yeah. I usually just say I have a potato brain and it's just not working.
Yeah. I feel that.
I told that to one of my clients today when she saw me yawning and I'm like, it's been a day. I am sorry.
Yeah. We haven't tried Pursuit United yet. Every time we look at the price tag, we kind of balk at it just a little bit. We want to try it. I just wish it was cheaper.
Is this a rye?
No.
Is it high rye?
No. A little. It's
it's higher.
For their brand, it's not their highest rye, but it is high rye normally. If the information from the brand itself holds true, not who's sourcing it, then yes, it is a high rye.
This is such a mind twister right now.
Just so you guys know, this is normally what she does to me. She's like, well, it is and it isn't, but also it kind of is at the same time. I'm like,
Is it a Barton source product?
No.
Gosh, darn it.
Yeah, I'm giving you a stumper here.
Is it a Wheel Horse product?
Yes.
Is it the Double Oak?
No.
Is it finished?
Yes.
Is it the pick? The cigar patch pick?
You're so close.
What do we have? I don't know.
It's the regular.
Regular. Okay. Well, I was close.
It's a complex one.
It is, and that's why I could not get any flavor profiles to it at all.
I mean, all it is flavor, but it's mostly sweet.
It's a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What else we got? Stag 24C.
Nice.
Of random stuff. Love it. 24C is pretty solid. We picked up the 24D, and it's well, we'll tell you in a little bit. Want to try the double oaked? Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I'm always excited. I'm always excited to try their stuff, but we just never do it. So soon. Good evening, Clint. Happy to see you. We got Mauricio in here as well. So we should probably start getting into some news.
Yeah.
And then in about 10 more minutes, we're going to welcome our guests into the chat here.
We have super cool news.
Yeah. A couple of things, actually.
Yeah. I only remember one, but whatever else we're doing.
Okay. So let's start with probably our favorite bit of news, and we'll kind of work back from there. Let me see. How do I do this again? I don't think I want to share the screen. Can I share the tab?
Maybe you have to put it on a different tab.
Yeah, let's do that.
Technology is hard, you know?
Technology is hard. You guys might see the infinite void here.
Can you click off that?
In just a second. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, it's still up.
So as we figure out our footing here, let's see. Share screen. There we go. I knew I could do it. So let's see how that's looking. We officially have merch.
Finally.
People have been asking. We've been wanting to give it to you, but we just life gets in the way.
Yeah. And also our logo does not look good on shirts.
No, definitely not. She tried making one and it got like lopsided and looked pretty weird.
And like the colors look really weird. So we partnered with one of our friends who owns a tattoo parlor.
Yeah. So his name's Matt, and he owns, well, he's part owner of Dead Serious Tattoo in the, what is it, like the southwestern burbs, like right on the outskirts of the city. He predominantly does like traditional Japanese style full body tattoo. So what we have here is the great wave of,
can you click in?
I'm trying to see. Yeah, there we go. The great wave of Kanagawa, but made out of whiskey. And then we thought that wasn't enough. So we're like, hey, can you do like a full piece that you would normally do for like a back tattoo, but do it for our shirt? So we gave him a couple of ideas of what we were looking for, and he really knocked it out.
Oh my God, he really did.
So here's the back.
It looks so good. I saw it and I was instantly like, yeah, I need this shirt. Like if it wasn't our brand, I would be wearing this all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we still could when we go to like events and do other things.
Yeah.
It's definitely eye-catching. So we basically told them we want our name, but we kind of want it in like what is that called? Not a ribbon. This style.
I don't know.
This style for tattoo. This like little kind of like wrap that goes around. And then he was nice enough to also include the date that we started, or the year that we started on the bottle. And the dragon even has a little Glencairn in his hand there.
It's so cute.
Yeah. For us, it was like absolutely eye-catching. He checked with us every step of the way to make sure that we were into it and that it was going the route that we wanted it to go. And I mean, honestly, he kind of just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it is awesome. I also love it's like holding the bottle with its claws too.
Just like pretty tight. Both talons being used for the purpose of whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love the Great Wave too. I had that like envisioned in my head for so long.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I had a shred of talent to actually draw something, this is what I would make.
But I mean, honestly, same. But we're very thankful to know talented people who are willing to help us and contribute. So I asked him, would you be willing to do that? And he's like, for you? Yeah, no problem. He's like, just throw me a shirt and we'll call it even. I was like, okay. Yeah. Like, yeah, absolutely. We'll plug the hell out of your shop. You do good stuff.
Yeah.
So really good dude, really awesome art. If you're ever looking for like traditional Japanese style tattoo, or you just want like a beautiful piece for like a sleeve or like your chest, your back, like your legs, he's definitely the dude to talk to.
Yeah.
So we're going to, well, this is going live as of right now. There is a discount for it at the moment. There should be a promo code that generates for everyone, but I think we've done it so many times that it removed the code. Let's see if I can.
It was very confusing setting it up.
Yeah, it was. It kept on adjusting the price and messing with it. So the code.
Season AL21, I think, is the code.
Season deal.
Oh, season deal.
Season deals with a Z, and I think
Seals.
1. So right now it's $35.05, and then you get 15% off if you order with that code. So saving $5 on a t-shirt, pretty good deal. I always look for deals like that. And on top of it, you would help support our channel, and we'd be able to make more merch like this soon.
Yeah.
I think next we were talking about like Glencairn's. But even if you want just a poster of this shirt, he gave us the artwork so we could just put it up, and you can hang it in your whiskey den.
Yeah.
You know, you can give it as a gift to somebody who's a bourbon lover who loves Japanese art or tattoos. It's pretty cool. We're happy about it.
Yeah, there will be more and more merch, but this one I think is a banger to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did just add a couple more people in the chat. Also some feedback. Thank you, King Bourbon. The Great Wave honestly was kind of the thing that we wanted the most on it. We originally wanted a Glencairn, but it was just kind of overarching and didn't look right. And I mean, the back is just stunning. Like you said, complete, like super sick. Then Mary, thank you as well. Appreciate it. We got Dustin's praise. Amazing. Then Sagamore Cash Strength. I think we tried it a long time ago, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it's been maybe like 2 years.
I think so. I remember really liking it. The only Sagamore that has been disappointing to me was the IPA.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
We don't talk about that one.
Because we talk about it too much.
Yeah, because it's disgusting, and everyone needs to know not to pick that one up.
Yeah. Sipping on Dragon's Milk, delicious.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we do have some other stuff in the works. Beginning of March, we're going down to Kentucky for like 4 days?
Yep.
So we have some tours lined up. We have a barrel pick coming up. It's
with
on
Harry.
Yeah, with Harry from D&D Smoke and Spirits. And since he has nationwide distribution, hopefully he'll be able to obtain all the bottles and ship it out to you guys. So if you're not in the Chicago area or the surrounding suburbs, that one should have a wider reach, which we're very happy about. We're shooting for the weeded cash strength single barrels.
Cask strength?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be fun. But we're in talks to maybe do a Peerless tour or tasting. We're also doing preservation.
Yeah, that one's going to be super tight.
Yeah. I think there's one more. We had like 5 that he recommended.
I know.
And we were like, all right.
So many options. And I was like, we also need to film like some liquor stores too. So
So we're planning on doing a store video while we're down there. Hopefully somebody will give us the chance to do it, and we'll show you some cool stuff.
Hopefully we can do a few. I think that would be super cool.
Yeah. So what else? There was one other thing.
I don't know.
Oh, we have another distillery tour planned this weekend, and it's going to be a fun one. If you guys watched our last video for the Silver Tree, let us know your feedback on the style, like the documentary style. It was a little different for us, but I think it came out pretty good.
Yeah, and the son was just so freaking adorable.
Gus is the best.
I wish I had like an ounce of like what he has when I was a child. I was mostly like just dancing around and being like, one day I'm gonna be an actress. And yeah, that
the best part was when he came in and they're like, do you want to be in the video? And he did like the little hip divot and he's like, yeah.
Like, of course.
Yeah, that kid's going places.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be like a crazy master distiller.
Hopefully, if his family lineage is any indication, he'll have a good base of knowledge, and he already knows how to farm. Yeah. Apparently, so it'll be good. Real good experience.
Indeed.
So I need to mess with the audio real quick because I normally mute our speakers. We are going to welcome our guests on here in just a second.
Do you want me to do the rundown while you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so tell them what we're doing.
All right. So we have a special guest, and sorry, I'm reading off of my phone, but it is the 21st century. So we wanted to introduce AM Whiskey, a YouTube channel where two longtime friends share their passion for whiskey through engaging reviews, blind tastings, and plenty of shenanigans. Whether you're looking for seasoned whiskey enthusiast or just beginning your journey, AM Whiskey offers a blend of informative content and entertainment to enhance your appreciation of this timeless spirit. And AI did not write that for me.
Yeah, totally did not. So with no further ado, we're going to welcome some of our newest friends in the whiskey community.
Hello.
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 That made us sound way more professional than we actually are.
You can thank ChatGPT. They honestly do like better work than I could.
I
Yeah.
knew you were lying.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, how many syllables does that word have in it? I lost count.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks
Really
for having us.
appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, for those who have been following our videos for a while, we met AM Whiskey at, where's it, Antioch Fine Wine and Spirits?
Yep.
That was for our Pappy raffle. We really enjoyed talking to you guys. You had a really good head on your shoulders. You're like really into stuff. What I loved when we were talking to you was like how diverse your palate was and like the things you kept asking me about. You're like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And I was like, that's a different type of spirit. But they're all kind of within the realm of whiskey where I was like, that one's different, that one's different, that one's different. None of these are similar. I love that.
Yeah, we definitely, the group we hang out with, we've got, your traditional Irish drinkers, some Scotch drinkers, some, bourbon people. And then, like, there's no one person in the group that likes the exact same stuff. Like, everybody picks on me because I'm more of a tater profile guy, which is sweet and low spice.
He loves his Buffalo Trace. I mean, that's just...
See,
I mean,
right?
it hits the spot every once in a while.
Yeah. And then he's, what's your favorite note? What do you like?
I like nuts.
So he's a Jim Beam guy.
Like
Okay.
peanuts.
I love
like,
Beam and Heaven Hill. Like that's my go-to.
It's funny that you say that because the other day we were talking to somebody that we know, and he's like, I don't get any peanut flavor off of Heaven Hill. And I'm like, then you haven't had enough of it.
Yeah, that's I mean, supposedly after the fire they got their yeast from Jim Beam gave them yeast so that they could continue distilling.
Oh.
So that's part of the reason why they have that nutty flavor in their whiskey. So
See, ChatGPT was right about these guys.
Yeah.
well, we're typical whiskey nerds, and this is kind of how our channel got started. Is we would get together and drink whiskey, and our wives got tired of hearing us just talk about whiskey, and they're like, "Geez, you guys need to go somewhere and just put a camera in front of you and film this because we're tired of listening to you." So that's how AM Whiskey was born, and that's kind of what we like to do. We like to just sit, enjoy some good whiskey, and kind of give our thoughts. We both have opinions, and we're not scared to share them.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw some of your reviews as well pop up, and the one that I saw was after the Antioch raffle. Yeah, the Pappy raffle. So what did you think of the Pappy that you actually won?
Haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm scared. I'm scared. That's one of those bottles where not many people can say they have a Pappy 20. So I'm saving that for special occasion. There's a good chance that my stepson might be getting engaged soon. Not to put any pressure. So that may end up being something that's, that's going to be a special occasion bottle for me.
Yeah, if you want to apply any pressure, just say his name in the video here, and we'll all kind of cheer him on.
Oh, I don't know. He's a cop, so I don't want to. He might arrest me if I put.
Yeah, that'll definitely go the other direction.
Yeah. So.
I mean, that's one of the nice things that like everything we get, we end up drinking. So, like I won a bottle, but my liquor cabinet at home already has that bottle open, right? And so once that bottle is dead, it just has a backup now, right? That it goes into it, and
That's the
when
best.
people come over, you drink what you want to try, right?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, that's honestly how it should be. We will regularly, like, even when we go over to somebody else's place, we try to bring at least a couple bottles that maybe seeing, you know, maybe you've never tried this before, maybe you've always wanted to, maybe you've never even heard of it. So, like, we like to bring sort of a, not so much a tater salad, but definitely kind of like a potpourri of different styles.
Yeah, a potpourri is a good one.
Well, we love doing blind tastings too. We
Yeah.
try and do a monthly event with some of our buddies where we rotate who hosts, and we plan a themed blind tasting that we do. We're actually tomorrow going to be at his house for it, but something similar. It's not a bottle share because it's all provided by the host, but they usually try and come up with a theme, and then we all just try and see if we can figure out the themes, see what we like, and kind of try and expose people to some stuff that they might not have tried, or give them a different perspective on
Nice.
something that they have tried.
Yeah, we don't really try to do the theme. We like the chaos, so you don't really have a chance to know. I do like the idea of a theme, and one of our
Yeah,
channel members
and
and like
Patreons and
Discord
friends.
members,
Yeah,
he's the best. He just keeps on offering us samples, and I'm like, you don't have to give us anything. And he's like, no, like, should I do all the same distillery? Like, what do you think? Is that too easy? Is it too hard? I'm like, literally anything you want to give us, we will be happy with trying.
yeah.
So I think some of the next ones we're gonna have are gonna be from the same distilleries, and we have to try to figure them out. So maybe we should start to incorporate those kind of challenges.
Maybe he definitely like confused us when he gave us all of the different stags.
Yeah, there were like 3 stags.
And I was like, these are similar. They can't be that similar. And I like kept going back and forth. I'm like, something is wrong with my palate.
And so, like, we did that early on in our journey where we would just give each other, like, it had to be one of the big 5 or 6 distilleries, right? And we just keep giving each other different bottles blind from that same distillery. So you should start finding those notes, because so a lot of people will tell you that, you know, stag, they get commonly cherry or grape. Same thing with Eagle Rare. Like, he's like a bloodhound for it. For some reason, on his palate, the way things work, it's almost big league. It's almost always big league bubble chew, bubble gum.
Great big league chew on almost all the Buffalo
I can
Trace.
see that.
Right, which I wish I could get. I get it sparingly here and there, but like trying to get one of those bottles now by him because we practiced enough time. Like the moment he gets that note, he knows it's one of these.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny because every time I have a stag and it has like what I now understand, because you made it very obvious to me, like the big league chew note, I definitely get like the kind of grapey, like confectioner sugar, like tiny bit of like, I don't know. It has like a odd kind of sweetness to it on the finishing note.
Right.
And it always reminds me of something, maybe like artificial berries. Because
Yeah.
like, I think
Yeah.
the big league chew is like berries and grape kind of put together in like a almost floral sweet kind of way.
Right, with that kind of powdery sugar that's on there that keeps it separated, and that's the first thing that came to my mind when I get that note. And now, like, anytime I smell it, I'm like, all right, I know this is Buffalo Trace, and get it on the palate, and it's okay.
Yeah, and it's different for me. Like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, most of the bottles from 24, then even A125. For me, I get caramel, a light nut, and then chocolate on the finish. And so it's like a Snickers bar. And like the minute I get those 3 things together, I'm like, Elijah Craig.
Yeah, there have been a few that we thought tasted like a little chocolatey and like almost like a candy bar. I'm glad that we're not like, we haven't really talked to anyone about it, but I'm glad to see that we haven't reserved that experience for just ourselves, that other people can pick out the same notes and get that same kind of vibe from it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. What are you guys sipping on right now? I see you got some warm-up pours.
Yeah, well, it's funny because whenever he comes over here, he likes to raid the good stuff. So he grabbed the Jack 10.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So he's drinking Jack 10, and I got Maker's Mark Heart Release.
nice.
Nice.
We have both of those. It would have been funny if we had like coordinated that by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually tried the Jack 12 recently, and we actually like the Jack 10 better.
Yeah, maybe it's just the variation between batches.
The
But
Jack 12 batch 1 is special.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
because we did try the 12 when it first came out, but we tried the second batch of 12, and we were like, it's okay. I don't remember it being
It's
like
good.
this.
It's real chocolatey on the back end. Like, it kind of depends on, like, because people like sweet, but like those Jack 12s are, like, they get real confectionery, right? You said that
Yeah.
word earlier. And there's some people that they just don't like that type of sugar. And like, we have several buddies that actually hate this, and I love them both. Like, for me, I dig on both of them.
Yeah, I definitely have like a revitalized love of Jack Daniels that my mom and dad would always drink like Jack, like the black label, the 7,
Number
The
7.
number
number
7.
seven.
Yeah. And I just grew up with that. I'm like, this is such trash. And then I started trying like all of the different variations. And I was like, oh, they actually know what they're doing.
There's a lot of people that sleep on Jack Daniels, and some of our friends who have been drinking whiskey forever and have massive collections just stayed away from Jack Daniels because they thought of only old number 7. And we were like, no, there's Jack Daniels is putting out some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that's how we were up until the threshold of trying. What was it? I think it was the first 10-year release.
I think so.
Yeah, we were at this place. For those that are in the Chicago market, you might know about it already, but for those that don't, I'll go into it a little bit. It's called GNS Market. They do something called the Stock Room, where like every Thursday, I think it's at like 5 p.m. There's like a open to the public bottle share, and they sometimes will have reps in there. And that week they had 2 different Brown-Forman reps. One of them was Old Forester, I believe, and then the other one was Jack Daniels. So they had like the early releases for like Jack 10, I think for Jack Bonded, and then one of the barrel proofs.
Mhm.
And we just immediately ate our words. Like we both
Yeah.
walked up there being like, okay, I'll try
Yeah,
it.
whatever.
Like, if it's a free pour, like I'll give it a shot. And
Right.
we're both like, oh my God, we've been so wrong.
Those
Yeah,
single
totally.
barrel proofs are fantastic. Some of the best value in whiskey that you'll find because they are flavor bombs, and eat the rye, the bourbon, for $65-$70.
Yeah,
They're
you
tough
can't-
to beat.
You can't beat it. And then like for $30 or $25 for the bonded products, like both the rye and the other one's rock solid.
Those are all
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really like the triple mash, but I think we just found out that it's going to be
I
discontinued.
know. I think a lot of people were turned off by it just because it's very fermenty.
Yeah,
Tasty.
I like the triple mash. He was not a big fan of it.
Yeah, we love it. And if anyone's in the Benny's area, it's $29 if you want to pick it up,
Yeah,
That's a deal.
right?
it's a pretty good deal. We do have a couple of comments and questions here. I feel like these are fitting. Jack Daniels was the devil in my youth. Everything that ended badly with the story ended after Jack Daniels.
Oh, I need to hear some of those stories.
Yeah, America's Uncle Tim. At some point in time, we're gonna call you out and ask for these stories. But yeah, it's also kind of relative to age. You know, like when you're young and you don't really know what you're doing with like spirits in general, but specifically whiskey. Like I've heard the same thing from Wild Turkey. I've heard the same thing for Jim Beam. I've heard countless times Jameson, which like
Yeah.
give or take some explanation for the Jameson. I get overdoing it when you're like in your college years, or if God forbid you're underage and you shouldn't be drinking, but you find a way.
You steal from like your sister's room or something like that.
Yeah, or water down the family's liquor collection. But yeah, like it just really comes with time and practice, and then of course a brand at the same time trying to achieve new heights. So within like those 10 years of you being able to legally drink, they spent 10 years aging something that was absolutely perfect when it came out.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad to see more people coming around. If I'd never tried it, I'd probably still be a hater. But
Yeah.
I mean, we're the biggest advocates for it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I mean, everybody knows Jack Old #7, but it's that classic, thing that you do shots of when you're in college, and it's, that cheap whiskey. But even going back to it, it's my perception of it has changed now that I've gotten more into whiskey and actually tasting it. I mean, it is straight banana run.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
It's pretty darn good. Yeah, no, like most of us, we all started. We're all young and partying and having fun, and that's a shooting game, right?
Yeah.
You're not actually tasting anything.
No.
You're slamming stuff, and so that's where the three wise men come in, and everything else, and all of our, mistakes. But I mean, look at how good Wild Turkey is these days.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, can I have just a smidge more? You gave me a baby before.
only they would price their stuff better.
We could try a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, Wild Turkey in general has been like increasing their prices like crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like they weren't one that were, I mean, other than like a few of their like releases, like the Master's Keep and maybe the Rick House, they weren't one that like really had a ton of product that were on the secondary market.
Or like the premium bottles.
Yeah. And now they're just like, well, we're going to get around that. So here's a $250 bottle. Enjoy.
Yeah,
At retail.
but it's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and some of them are
So good.
probably worth the money.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean-
They're that good.
We've been kind of keeping our eye out for like hard to find Russell's releases. And we recently found some like off-market stuff, which for the sake of not ruining the surprise in our Bourbon Hall video, we're going to keep that one a little close to the chest today. We got this close to adding it to today's live stream with you, which kind of brings me to the next topic before we get to this other question for Jack Daniels I want to cover. Today we're covering our 5 favorite bottles that like we're just kind of obsessed with. We keep going back to. So for those that are viewing, they could be either the same bottles, they could be different bottles, as I assume you both obviously have different palates. So do Kat and I. So we overlapped on I think 2, and then the rest are just kind of opposite.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. That's what we poured with our first one here. And
It was on theme of
Yeah.
what we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is now. And then Daniel, the guy I was mentioning earlier with the awesome flights that he does for us, he's asking, what are the expectations for Jack 14?
That I won't get it.
Through the roof.
Oh, will you get to try it though?
Yo, gosh, we will. I mean, obviously, we are going to try hard to get it. That's one of the bottles. I thought it was coming out last year, so I was looking for it. I think we put it in our, what we're hunting for in 2024 video, and then it didn't come out. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited after having both batches of Jack 12, all 3 batches of Jack 10, and then how good Russell's 15 was. I have that kind of expectation for the Jack Daniel's 14. The Coy Hill this year was fantastic.
So good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there were so many haters towards it. And they're like, oh, the first one was so much better. And I'm like, I mean, yeah.
People
the
get
first time
excited
you
when
try
they hear
anything, you're gonna
hazmat.
have
So
great
they
memories.
see 140 and they're like, oh, that's the best. But
They're all single barrels, and so there's a variance on the experience. Like
Yeah.
the last release didn't have the hazmat stuff. There are a couple of the hazmat ones that, like, I actually got a weird marker note off of sometimes.
Oh,
And it can
yeah.
cause me to downgrade it. This one, it had the complexity. It had tons of brown sugar, tons of char. There was a little light nut thing going on. It lasted forever on your palate. that was pretty darn good.
Yeah, we
Right?
got a lot of like chocolate cordial off of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And even like the single barrels, we have. I mean, this is the first one we have, right? The first pour.
hmm
So our first bottle, if you want to bring it up. So we've started.
This is my first bottle.
Yeah, sorry. Of the collective, this is ours, but this is Kat's first pick.
Yeah. So this is from Ira's, and they have 2 locations.
They have multiple locations, but Ira's is Wisconsin based.
Yeah.
We featured 2 videos for them for different stores. This is a Quay Hill rye pick. It is solid.
It is so good.
Yeah, we've actually got to try it. You know, we're right on the border, so we have a lot of our friends that are Wisconsinites, and I've actually never been to Ira's, but a lot of them talk it up, and I saw your video, so we're gonna have to check it out. But one of our buddies actually got that bottle and was like, "You got to try it," and it is solid.
Oh, it's right.
It is good. It's hot, like on the palate. It's definitely hot. This one is at
I think it's
137.1. And this comes from, if anyone is interested, it comes from Barrel House 113. So
that's right at the end.
Right at the end. It is a tasty one. I always want to open this, and I constantly just have to like stop myself from being like, okay, tonight's the night I get Quay Hill rye. And usually I have to say I like the ryes from Jack Daniel's better than the bourbons.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
The barrel proof ryes.
Store picks are amazing. Just the shelf stable bottle just slaps.
Yeah.
So good.
Even
so
though,
hard.
but a lot of places came out with their store picks of both the bourbon and the ryes, and they're both fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So
anytime we see them, we're like always immediately pulled in, and we're like, which barrel house is that? And we go, it's a lower barrel house. Well, I'll pass. But if I see like if it's like a 6 or a 7, I'm like, I'm a little interested. And then anything 8 and over, I'm like, yeah, we're getting this one.
There's no question. It's coming home.
Well, that's the geek in it, right? Because you figured out and isolated exactly what it is that you really, really like.
Yeah.
And that takes so much time, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's I mean, it's mostly for science, right?
Exactly. That's the way we look at it.
But we know some people that have like basically they skipped over the fumbling through trying to figure out what you like thing, and they've just kind of like stumbled into like the I can get whatever I want kind of phase.
Money helps.
Yeah, for sure. So they're constantly trying to like figure out their palate, and they'll be like, wow, this is really great. And I'm like, Jack Daniel's rye instead, a third of the price, same flavor. Like, why are you spending that much money on it? But like, it's fun when you can pinpoint that flavor profile, and you can like really start to figure out. You're like, okay, I liked these notes on this, but I didn't like those notes. And then you can start talking to your buddies, and you're just like, what do you know of that tastes like this that I can get all the time?
Yeah. And what's a bottom shelf banger that you can get as well, so you're not like blowing out your budget constantly, going for like these hype bottles constantly.
Well, and I will say, watching your video today on was that Silver Tree?
Yeah.
Hearing about that special yeast strain that was Banana Laffy Taffy, I just had Jack Daniels going through my head.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've never heard of Silver Tree, and now I'm like, I'm interested now.
I mean, honestly, they're pretty awesome. We didn't know what to expect going into it, but like the same person who made our T-shirt, he's the person that recommended to us, and that dude has such like a diverse palate. When he says that something that's like relatively unknown is amazing, the first thing I think is, how do I find it immediately? I need to see it for myself. And honestly, it really impressed us. The guys were nice enough to give us like a whole bunch of samples of the experimental yeast one. And this is so good. We'll gladly share this with you guys if you want to try it.
He gave us like a cup of it when we were there, and I was like, Chris, stop drinking it. You're going to go blind.
I stopped myself because I knew I would drink the whole cup. But yeah, it was maybe like a 6-7 ounce pour.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You want some? Here," and just
There
dunked
you
it
go.
right into the proofing tank. And I was like, "That's too much." And I took a sip. And I was like, "This isn't enough."
Yeah. No, when it's really good, like what was the bottle that we tried this last year? Like one of the SLB or
Oh, the Cedar Ridge.
oh yeah, Cedar Ridge. Like it was like we tried it just on a limb. Like it was funny. Like we've been seeing the video, and he had a bottle for months, just sitting here collecting dust. It's like, oh, we should finally try it. And then we try it, and we're like, you have got to be kidding me! Like just completely fruit forward, real easy drinking, like enough complexity, just good.
It's a good tater replacement when you can't find those bottles.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You can grab that, and it's solid, reasonably priced, and you can buy straight from the distillery, and they'll ship for free.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's local. It's nice to I mean, I guess a state over, but it's always nice to support some of those smaller local distilleries, especially when they're doing something that you're actually can really enjoy. And you know, it's sad to say, but I've tried a lot of smaller local distilleries, and I try it and I'm like, I want to like this.
Yep.
I really want to like it, but I don't.
Yeah, like you're the sweetest people I've ever met, but I literally am trying to like not gag while drinking this.
Yeah.
I won't say who that is in my mind, but there are a few.
Yeah. Or you start drinking it and you think to yourself, you're like, "Is this pot still? Did you guys just surprise me with Willet pot still?"
I mean,
Where you feel like you're chewing on a corncob pipe, right? Like
Yep.
the old school corncob pipes, and yeah,
it's just
Yep.
there's no substitute for time, and sometimes just time in the barrels helps round out some of those edges, and a lot of those guys don't have the time.
Yeah, when you're trying to get out product, like I totally understand trying to make back your money quickly, and that's why we see a lot of like the clear spirits from those distilleries,
Gin,
or gin,
vodka, occasionally rum.
Yeah, but when you're putting out a 2-year-old whiskey, I hope that it's actually like drinkable, because that first impression is what a lot of consumers are going to remember when they like look at it on the shelf again. Be like, I tried it at 2 years and I don't trust it at 4, you know?
Right. So I know you guys put out the Jack Daniels. This was what I started off with, but this is one bottle that I can't seem to stop drinking. I'm not a huge Maker's Mark fan. This is the Heart release. To me, it's a caramel bomb that just does everything that I like in bourbon. I don't get any of that weeder funk that sometimes I get on Maker's Mark. It's sweet, some nice wood notes. I just really enjoy this. So this was the first bottle that I brought out that I just keep going back to. And at the price, and it's like they had 2 releases this year. It came out, and then now I'm seeing it all over the place again. So I have a backup, and I'm not a big backup guy. This one I definitely did get a backup of, because I really have to like it to get a backup. I'll go different batches. I got lots of batches of bottles that I really like. I mean, this whole bunch of Elijah Craig and a whole bunch of Stag, but this was a release that I really enjoyed. So that was my first bottle.
My one pour tonight was Blanton's Gold. It's an old European bottle. It's from 22. Fruit forward, light spice. It's been in my whiskey cabinet now for 2+ years. I don't like to have the same bottle in the cabinet that long. And the reality is I got a store pick, a couple store picks that I actually like more than this one. It's even more fruit forward, even more that profile. And so now it's time to kill that bottle off so that one of the others can come up and go on the shelf.
Yeah, totally. I have a new theory while you guys were talking.
All right,
we need to do the 2.
Figure out the formatting here. There
you go. As it goes in and out. So When
You look much better.
you
Smart.
are picking your dessert, like your dessert of choice, what do you gravitate to the most?
Oh, that's a good question.
For me,
Yeah, both.
Uh,
Yeah, both of you, and I'll ask Chris.
like, if you're funny enough, when I usually get a dessert, if I get a dessert, it's like at home, I want a Reese's peanut butter cup. I love that chocolate peanut butter combination. There's nothing better. If I'm out at a restaurant, my dessert is almost always a brandy Alexander.
Nice.
Mm.
You know, being right up here on the Wisconsin border, they have a lot of those supper clubs up in Wisconsin,
sure.
and they make those ice cream brandy Alexanders, and you know, that's bled across to this side of the cheddar curtain, and so I will often get a brandy Alexander as my dessert. That's just one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I'm a cheesecake guy.
cheesecake.
I
Okay.
don't have dessert very often. I don't know which one of us introduced each other to the brandy Alexander, but it probably happened 30 plus years ago. And that's probably my liquid drink of choice, right? When I'm out eating. But if I'm going to get a piece of something, cake or whatever, I'm all about old school cheesecake.
Yeah.
I mean, like real old school cheesecake, like grandma used to make. And
Oh, yeah.
Scratch and yeah.
Philadelphia cheesecake, or like cream cheese in there. So
Oh yeah,
super
and it's
creamy.
real thick, and it's the old cream cheesecake, and then like the graham cracker, the crust is all like old school crumble and stuff. Like
Yeah.
You just don't. Once a decade, I might find something that's kind of in the quality or class of what I'm talking about, but
Yeah, Philadelphia is so like well known throughout the world that when I used to work for this like Spanish tapas restaurant, they said that like anytime people from Spain would come to their restaurant, they wouldn't call it cream cheese. They would just say, "Do you have any Philadelphia?" And they're like, "No, we don't. We have this brand." And they're like, "Yeah, it's all Philadelphia." I'm like, okay.
No, but okay.
It is like on point branding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your go-to dessert?
A go-to dessert, sweet, savory, salty. Mine is a little contrived, a little bougie. I really like, one of my favorite desserts I've ever had is from a job I used to work at. It had a black sesame shortbread cookie for an ice cream sandwich that had miso caramel. So it's like sweet, savory, salty, earthy,
Funky.
a little umami and funky. So I like things that have multitudes and are complex. Yeah. I like a dessert that has so much character that you almost can't stop yourself from the next spoonful because you have to figure out where the flavor is coming from.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah,
it is delicious. So my theory and my go-to dessert of choice is usually something with like a lot of baking spice in it. Like I really love like chai flavored things. I like the balance of like sweet and like, I don't know how to describe a baking spice, but like spicy, earthy, spicy,
warm.
So my theory, and the minute you said Reese's, I was like, yeah, of course you like Elijah Craig. Like it's nutty. That's your go-to dessert. And then you said cream or cheesecake. And I was like, yeah, you like things smooth with like a nice hint of sweetness. And it's not
probably
like
wants the cherry dribbled on top.
Yeah.
That New York style.
So speaking of baking spice, that's right.
That one is all baking spice.
This is my first of my 5 bottles I'm obsessed with. Have you guys had the Jimmy Red Corn Weeder?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
haven't had that one yet.
That's the new bottle style, I think, that just came out.
Yeah, they just reduced the price of it at Binny's, so it went from like $130 to $100, and we were like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, I went through a time where I was buying everything I could get my hands on, and now, especially at that $100 price range, I want to try it before I buy it. So I haven't seen that yet. I don't make it to Binny's very often. We're more of a kind of local store kind of people. But it's definitely one that I want to try, but I'm gonna wait till I try it before I pull the trigger on that bottle.
Yeah. I'm sure one of our friends will bring it around.
We'll get to try it, we're sure.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe on the blind flight that we were going to coordinate, maybe maybe it'll end up in the flight box for you.
Yeah, maybe.
That sounds like a challenge. We're happy to ship whiskey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, the original theme that we were going to do was like, basically we were all going to have a shared blind flight and just do it over streaming and try to see what we could pick out. But as you guys know, life gets in the way. So we just kind of said, all right, I guess we'll just talk about our favorite bottles because that's just as relevant, especially with like a rapidly moving market right now.
Oh, yeah.
So especially some of like the bottles that are plummeting in price, like this, that's why it became my favorite. Like, what is that? Almost 30% price drop. That's what, like 25?
26%, something like that.
So something that we tried that we were both like, yeah, this is pretty good. And we looked at the price point. We're like, nope, not today. We'll leave that here with you.
Yeah, like
So-
it's cool, but not for that price.
That's how I was with like Calumet 15 and 16. And then I start seeing it at like $99. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, at this point, I think I'm willing to pull the trigger on that. That's a heck of a deal. But I would say my next is just any batch. I love this stuff. If I want a barrel proof pour, this is what I go with for the most part.
Which one
And
is that you're pouring?
this one is A125, so this is the newest batch.
Okay.
Just because it was the closest, but we've been lucky enough to have all the batches of both this and Stag the last couple of years, so we've been able to try them all, and Stag is very good. It is worth the hype. If you can find it, great. I can find this.
Yeah.
This one's not as hard. Depending on the batch. C923 can be, if that got a bunch of hype and was a little harder to find, that is one of those bottles where I have a backup of, because it was pretty phenomenal. I know it's got a lot of hate about dropping the 12-year age statement. We just kind of talked about that. And this is actually one of the batches that I liked the least so far. I thought it was actually kind of muted compared to what they had been in the past. It does lean towards those Snicker notes, but kind of muted compared to everything last year. B524 last year was my favorite. It was a lot spicier. And I just really enjoyed the complexity that brought.
Yeah.
But again, I think a lot of times we get caught up on the age statement. So when they dropped the 12-year, everybody threw a fit. But if the whiskey tastes good at 10 years, it tastes good at 10 years. If it tastes good at 11, it tastes good at 11.
Exactly. Like, why are you going to keep something going, like keep something aging when it's already ready to get on the market?
Yeah.
What bothers me is like pushing out products when it's not ready.
Yep.
And you can tell.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
100% agreed. Yeah, once it's ready to drink, it's ready to drink. So let's see. I guess I'll follow up with Aaron, and I'll go and I'll see how raise his Elijah Craig barrel proof with a little rare breed, right? Rare breed bourbon. The rye is great as well. I mean, I love it. It's great. It's full of flavor. It's well rounded. And if you ever run low, you can go back to the store and get another bottle for $55.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even cheaper in some places.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's bang for the buck. It's right there at the Jack Daniel's products. Little different flavor characteristic, more full flavor, more rounded, a little more oak, a little more spice backer, right? Lasts on the palate a little bit differently. But I just find myself going back to it because it's so darn good. Like when I want to have brown juice, I don't always want just sweet, right? Sometimes I want the full flavor. Sometimes I love Old Jim Beam, right? I really respect Old Beam. I like it all, and I find myself going back to rare breed all the time.
Nice. It's a very solid bottle.
It is a
honestly.
good one. Yeah. I can go up next if you want to switch us over. So this one is another. So he was like, we don't have to just do our most recent bottles. And I'm like, okay. So I actually pulled out Jepson's Maple Cast.
Yeah, this is our special occasion backstock now.
It's so good. I don't know that next time we can get one of these. So I really do.
Maybe never.
I know, maybe never. So the minute we told the row about it, and they were just like, holy shit, what is this?
Yeah, like, oh, do you guys watch Whiskey Row? They're now like named The Row on YouTube.
From time to time, yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
So there was one episode where they had us on as guests to talk about like, you know, kind of up and coming channels. And we were so happy to be on there. And then somebody in the chat was like, hey, if you're from Chicago, explain Malort.
No, defend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
defend.
there you go. Yeah.
Defend Malort. And I was like, there's no defense. Like, Malort is Malort. Like,
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Misery loves company. That's
Yeah.
the defense of Malort.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is
The night,
Malort-
the night you fight your dad.
is it Polish? Is it German? Like what's
Swedish is like the
Swedish,
original.
Swedish, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I
it's just-
believe Swedish.
I mean, there's a real strong ethnic background to it, and it's part of the city, and it's just part of the culture, right? That's what people used to do way back in the day, right? They get off work and they go get a pour of old style and a Malort shot, right?
Yeah.
And that's just what they did when they got done with work, and they did it for generations,
Yeah.
right? Or for decades. It's
But
part of the culture.
People sleep on Jepsons, and they're
Yeah.
putting out some good
Oh
bourbon.
yeah.
And that's what our point was. You know, David was like, I hate Malort. I would never trust their whiskey. There's got to be Malort inside of the whiskey. Like, it's got to be in the still. It's got to be in this, and it's got to be in that. And I was like, you know, they don't make their bourbon, right? Like, they're sourcing. It's mostly Green River. With like,
Swiv, isn't it?
what was that?
Is it MGP? A lot of this
MGP and Green River are most of like their backstock.
And then they do have Dickel. The person who
Yeah,
owns their
Dickel.
company will just buy a bunch of barrels in bulk and just be like, I got you some barrels. See what you want to do with them, which is kind of cool. But the problem is you end up with, I think, what did Tyrus say? Like 40% of the barrels they get are unusable.
Yeah.
So then they have to just like figure out creative ways to make them palatable. And then you have really cool stuff like this, like their maple cast finish. When we told, or rather when we went to Jepson's, this was the first thing they handed us. They're like, check this out. This is something I just made. And we're like, oh my God, this is really good. The most restricted, like not restricted, that's not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sedentary.
When you use like restraint. There you go.
Restraint. Yes.
The most restrained maple finish that I've ever seen on anything. It's there just enough for you to know that it's like it's got some sweetness to it, but it doesn't take over with like the dark sugary notes.
Yeah.
It's not incredibly like
Cloyingly sweet.
yeah, cloyingly sweet. It's, I mean, as you can see, it's dark.
Oh,
It is.
Yeah, so it's not quite decadence, right? Finished like the Widow Jane
Widow Jane.
decadence.
Yeah.
You ever had
Not
that?
even close.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
Right, that's like pancake
Yeah.
syrup.
I tend to lean away from finished bourbons. I get made fun of all the time because I'm like, I don't like finished bourbons. I want the whiskey to show through. So if the finish is an accent and it's not the main player, okay, I'm good. But when that's the main player, I like when Rio came out. There was so much hype around that bottle.
Yeah.
And I was
And
like,
now
I am
Havana.
finding that bottle. And I never found it, but luckily I found a place where I could get a pour. I tried a pour and I am so glad I didn't find it. I hated it. Hated it.
We bought it without trying a pour and very quickly learned our lesson.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's stopping us from getting like a Havana too, where the what they're doing is
We were
so
just talking about
overly sweet to a point, like to a point
Right.
where you're just like, I can't drink this like all the time. I'm gonna lose a foot if I keep drinking this.
Right.
Yeah. And Ambarana too is like one of those flavors that people either like love or hate.
Oh yeah.
The one that I love the most is a Jepson's, and they only kept the stave in for 3 months.
No, it was less than that. It was
3 weeks.
like 3 weeks.
3 weeks, and that's like the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it just adds the hue, right? The hue to it. It accents the whiskey versus.
Yeah.
I've
And,
only
like-
found one Ambarana that I actually was like, okay, I could drink that. And it was actually a Found North Vinny's pick.
So
Oh.
we actually got some information about that. Did you guys hear the process of how they do it?
Mm-mm.
They basically smoked the whiskey by using staves. So they use the staves as kindling, and then they basically let that kindling go into and like infuse in the whiskey. And that's why all of the Found North picks have like a little bit of a
Smoky.
like kind of smokiness to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They literally are smoking the flavor infusion.
All right.
Well,
That might be why it was palatable to me, because it wasn't like overwhelmingly cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was honestly like we tried the American Oak one, and it's different. It's a little sweet, little savory, a little smoky. So I would like to try the Ambrana one, but I mean, to kind of circle back to
I want to try the
Cat's
Spanish
suggestion.
oak.
yeah, that'd
That's
be
the
pretty
ones
good.
I had. I had the Spanish oak and the Ambarana.
Do you like the Spanish Oak?
I liked that one a lot better. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to try to find it.
Yeah.
We just kind of passed on it because with so many drops and so many things all the time, you're just like, all right, here's another $100, $200, $300 drop. Like, do I really need it? Do I need like the whole Pokemon set? Like, no. Like, I don't need the Binny single barrel starter kit. I can just skip this and hopefully try it later.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, this one is solid. I mean, we've changed minds. We talked to Jepson's, and we had them send a bottle over to Whiskey Row, and like after trying one sip of it, he was just like, "Oh my god!"
You're like, you gotta get it.
yeah, and it kept saying like, "Whatever the price is, pay it. It's worth it." And like on 3 different videos, was like, "This is my favorite thing right now." Like this bottle's already almost gone, and I was like, I didn't expect that reaction, but
Every single barrel of Jepson's that I've had has been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the ones I have, though, are in their that old school the label before they did the rebranding of the label.
Yeah.
It's that
Or
Got
I
the
feel like that
crest
one's
on it.
better than this one because it tends to like rub off. I want to tell him, I'm like, I love your product. Just put it in a nicer bottle.
put it on a less like slippery.
Oh, just like
Label.
in general, do not put the cap on it. Like, think about marketing a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They switched from the old label to this one because people were constantly being like, "Oh, it's Malort, it's Malort."
Malort, right.
So I get trying to change the perception
I
of
like
it.
the clean look of that one. I just, the ones that I happen to buy all had that old label, and I mean, they're great.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have any issues with them.
So
especially
good. We
after-
have an old one back in wherever.
Yeah, we have like one of their first batches
You should have
behind the
one
camera
over there.
storage. We're
Those on the bottom shelf.
we're gonna wait a little bit of time, and then we're gonna compare the regular shelfer and the original shelfer.
That label.
There you go. Oh, nice.
Yeah. What do you guys have up next for your next favorite whiskeys?
I'm gonna go with another oldie but goodie. It needs to be killed. I've been working on it hard. It's an old Larceny barrel proof B522.
Oh,
Nice.
It's drinkable. Old Larceny, it's hit or miss. Either you like it or you hate it. It's not necessarily my favorite. I need to get it off my whiskey shelf so I can put it up there. And it's not Drano, so I'm drinking it. And anytime any one of my friends see me with it and they want to pour, they're welcome to have it. But this bottle needs to be killed.
I think Larceny is a brand that has really, like I said, when I first started drinking bourbon, got a couple of those early picks, and I did not like them at all. And then 2023, two
Oh, yeah.
batches end up in Fred Minnick's top 10, and I'm like, all right, maybe I need to go back to them.
I think 23 forward, the whiskey started drinking better.
Seems like they've started to get better. Right now, for me, in the winter, fall and winter, I tend to gravitate towards ryes a lot, and I've been really digging double oaked ryes. I know somebody was talking about Pursuit United earlier. I really want to try their double oaked rye. I love their stuff in general, but this bottle, fantastic. The Sagamore double oaked rye, can find it everywhere. In this area, the Pursuit United's Binny's exclusive, but Sagamore Spirits doing great things. The double oaked rye, just fantastic. If you haven't tried the Sagamore double oaked rye, you need to try it.
It's a great shelfer.
Yeah, it is such a good.
Really, everything from Sagamore is good.
Yep.
Is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine actually coincides with yours. So I don't know why I was picking all finished products, but this one isn't finished, but two of mine are finished. And this one is just so good. It's the Sagamore Manhattan finish.
Put it up on the screen.
So this is one of their really old labels. This was before it became like annual release. I think it was one of the first editions.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a
That's
one-off.
cool. That looks cool.
See, that's how we both got started in whiskey, was drinking Manhattan. So
Nice.
that might be one that I need to try.
This one is like, I feel I'm also a Manhattan drinker, and this one is like the perfect balance. It uses both I think vermouth, bitters, and cherry brandy. So if you barrels, yeah. So if you are a brandy fan, this one might be the one for you.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Manhattan person. I like a black Manhattan every once in a while. I don't really lean too much into like the traditional bitter notes that a Manhattan has, like the sweet and bitter. I would prefer like one or the other typically. But
I
this
usually
one
left the bitters out when I had my Manhattan.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary, especially if you have like vermouth, but for some reason it really does work in this one.
Yeah, so this one is actually crazy good. The first time that we opened it, I was like, oh my God. I was like, we need to go and get a second bottle of this. And the problem was, because we featured it in the video that we picked it up at, like when we went to go back for it, I think like 2 days later it was gone. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I see, maybe we should be a little quiet about some of our favorite finds.
It's getting nursed, but it's a spring release, so
yeah,
it'll be back on the shelves very soon.
Well, at some stores they have it on the shelf right now.
That's true.
And they just changed the label to be more in line with like their normal aesthetic, like what you guys have on the table. But it's basically the same exact product.
Yeah, it's so good.
Nice.
And we see we got some support from the chat here.
Yeah,
Manhattans
let's go.
are my favorite cocktails. And we have one of my favorite YouTubers in here.
A little old fashioned. What's up?
Happy to see you in here. He's if you guys aren't following Little Old Fashioned, he's absolutely awesome. He's a really nice dude. We've talked to him every once in a while. He's great.
A little old fashioned. I don't know how you make so much content.
Yeah, honestly.
I am so tired just watching your videos.
Yeah, I mean, just like all the drops that you do, you're like, I'm here. I'm like, how did you find the time to drive to all of these places and edit and make it sound and look good and like still have like a job and I assume a family? Like it's wild.
That's the one thing I'm really impressed with you guys. Like, you guys are all over the place. I'm like, how do you have the time?
Yeah.
We don't. That's the eternal joke, is we do not.
Yeah.
But I think that one thing is we prioritize going out every Saturday. So like what we were talking about earlier, like sometimes we go out hunting. We're usually late because we're like, we are not morning people, and we also hang out at Binny's for too long.
It's not that it's not that we're late. It's just that we're not super early.
Yeah,
so
we are not morning people. But usually we're hunting from like noon, and sometimes we'll go until like 10 o'clock trying to find like a good store to go to. And that's when we're like, do we give up? Do we do something else?
right?
Well, here's
Like,
the answer.
over time, like even with like the video making part, like we found, like we've got some rules, right? You can't be too sauced, you can't be too happy, right? And we've kind of gotten better at like doing it, trying not to talk over each other, trying not to repeat the same things. And like once you kind of figure out your format and your thing, like you can kind of one time take it or first take it, right? Kind of like this is this live, interaction. It's just raw.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of with the videos, right? Sometimes there's not a lot of editing. Sometimes there needs to be a lot of editing.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, especially me, I'm the one that's like mumbling my words or like hopping over things. And Chris is like, what did you just say? And I'm like, I don't know. So I think from now on, I'm just going to have ChatGPT write all of my script.
No,
And
'cause
then
you still have to read the script.
I'm going to just plug a microchip into my head and then we'll be good to go.
Elon can do that for you, Neuralink.
He's
Yeah.
already working on
He's
it.
working on it. I think Chris, you're the next one
Yeah,
for the bottle.
I want a little sip of this though.
I know it's so
If
good.
we're breaking it out, I want just a little palate cleanser for the next one.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous.
I mean, again, you have our information. Well, we can do a meetup.
Oh yeah.
So the
There'll
next
be
one,
a meetup or bottles exchange somewhere in Illinois.
we can do both.
Yeah, exactly.
It is damn good. So this next one is another overlapping bottle for both of us.
It is.
So
Let's gooch these.
recently we've started to get into more of like the American single malt realm, and there are some that are a little Wild West.
I know. I saw your face where you're just like, ah.
I keep trying.
Maybe if you are a Jack Daniels fan, maybe this one will be the one for you.
This is Brother Justice Cold Peated. Have you had this one before?
Nope. But as soon as you said peated, I said,
I mean,
I'm also not a peated person.
but here's the asterisk, right? So this is American single malt, doing it before the regulations drop, still falls within the criteria because of how they're doing it. It is cold peated, which means that they're doing a peat extraction through almost like a cold brew process or like a pour over process instead of actually like infusing it with the smoke flavor.
It doesn't have like, it's not like a campfire. It's more like an accent of like a nice, I wouldn't even say
that might be
it's just like interesting.
No?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that, guys?
so not to be beat the same drum, but Cedar Ridge, the quintessential, is their American single malt and has just a hint of smokiness to it.
Yeah.
That one is palatable. I keep trying to dip my toe into American single malts. Sometimes I can get into them, but more often than not, I'm going back to bourbon. I am excited to see the Old Fit 7-year that's coming out.
I'm going to circle back to that in a second, which is why.
Sorry, I just saw it pop on the screen.
No, you're good. I put this up here because I want to give us time to think about it and just kind of give like my thoughts about American single malt and then literally keep the focus in front of us. So American single malt, not my favorite. Scotch, sometimes I could take it or leave it.
But we've had really good American single malts.
Well, yes, we have. But that was also after we tried this one.
Yeah.
So this one actually really, really changed my mind about American single malt. We went to this like event for Binny's. We basically like double booked ourselves for both the live stream and the American single malt. So I was like, we need to make this like quick and efficient. Like, what are the tables worth checking out? And our buddy was like, check out this table, check out that table. And then we immediately sidestepped when we saw Brother Justice. We've seen the bottle everywhere.
I mean, it is so
It's a
beautiful.
very cool looking bottle.
Yeah. So like the way that they're infusing the cold peat is so unbelievably like mellow. It just adds like a vegetal kind of grassiness to it, which American single malts completely lack a majority of the time.
Right.
But they're also using like essentially Belgian style malts for this. So like you actually get like almost like a Hefeweizen meets a Belgian triple together, and then it has like the banana kind of bubble gummy, a little bit of chocolate,
Laffy Taffy.
and
I would
Laffy
say.
Taffy
Yeah.
for sure. And then you get like a touch of like mossiness to it. So it ends up being almost like a Bananas Foster with like more of a chocolate twist to it. It's honestly really good.
It's so good.
Sounds very flavorful, right? To be able to like, that's one of the things that I like about the brown juices. Do you get one note? Do you get two notes? Do you get 5 or 6? When you get 5 or 6 out of something, it's usually pretty good juice.
Yeah, definitely. This one is such a mind twister. I would almost put it, we're also fans of like Japanese whiskey too. So I would put this more in the style of like Japanese whiskey rather than like a bourbon drinker. But if you are interested in getting into other categories, I would say like if you're an Old Forester fan or a Jack Daniels fan, maybe try this and see if you like it, because it really is unique and something like totally different than what you would have in any other bottle.
Yeah. And with most things, try it at a bar first if you can. Avoid the big ticket purchase because this one's about $90. I mean, we had a coupon for Binny's.
A coupon.
So we're like, okay, I can justify it now because the price is dropping a little bit, which is somewhat the theme of most of these bottles here. The unofficial theme is like, I got a coupon.
Also, I mean, you know, just cheaper juice in general. This is $60.
Yeah, the Jepson's is very affordable. And for how it tastes, it's good bang for your buck right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear the thoughts on this Old Fifth 7. Like, I have an opinion as I typically do, but before I go on a monologue, I'd like to hear what you guys think.
I'm just excited that, well, until I saw the bottle, I was hoping it was going to still be the decanter bottle and you could buy a shelf, because honestly, in my opinion, the juice lately has been kind of subpar. But the bottle is beautiful. To have that bottle on your shelf is nice. So I was kind of hoping they were going to keep the same glass. Yeah, see? I was kind of hoping they were going to keep the same glass and just, you know, a lower age product, so that you could actually get that bottle just on your shelf. And it would probably be a bottle that I would buy once just to get that bottle. But then I saw the bottle and it's the straight bottle and just kind of has that topper and it's like, okay. But like I said, I think the Larcenies have started to get better. I am a big Heaven Hill fan. So I'll be interested to try it. Again, I just said how age statements don't necessarily matter. So if it's comes across good at 7 years, then I'm willing to give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, and it also
traditionally haven't been
approachable
huge
for other people to buy too. It's not something that's gonna. I mean, it'll probably still be super allocated, but it won't be allocated to the extent that one of the older like decanter series are going to be.
The actual like wide bottle.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll try it, and I'm sure I'll have it. But it causes me now to have questions. Like if it's the same mash bill of Larceny, how old is Larceny? Is it going to drink the same? Is it going to drink different? I mean, Larceny's like 90, 92 proof. Like if this is bottled and bound, it'll be 100 proof.
Yep.
Right? I mean, so I'm kind of curious to see what the experience is like. If my humble opinion is Heaven Hill might be in a little bit of trouble. I don't know, because I've seen more 7-year bib sitting around by cases in every liquor store I go to.
Yep.
And like some of them are trying to give it away at $35 a bottle now, and it used to command 50 something.
Yeah.
And even the grain to glass, we're starting to see a reduced price
Oh,
too.
it's everywhere. It's way overpriced.
Yeah.
Like I like the Weeder at 120 proof. I think it's the best grain in the grass. I don't think it's a $90 bottle.
Agreed.
No.
And I'm just like, I don't know what they're gonna price this at, I'm sure I'll try it, and I'll probably buy a bottle to do it. I'm not a huge larceny, like the small batch fan. So I'm just hoping that the drinking experience is substantially different than larceny small batch. I like the barrel proof. I think the barrel proof's a rock solid product for the 60, 65, 70 bucks. I think it's a rock solid product. I'm curious to see where this one's going to fit in.
I just like seeing the big name trying to become more shelf stable.
Yeah.
Having that little bit of a premium name to it. But again, when I first heard about it, I got excited because I thought it was going to be the decanter bottle still.
Yeah.
Because really that's what gets me excited about the old Fitzgerald. I mean, the 17-year and the 19-year, great. I probably would have cut off my right arm to get the 13-year VBS.
Funny, some people are asking for that for trade right now, specifically your right arm.
Well, hey,
It works. I'll give it away right now.
Yeah, you definitely will.
Let's work this out right via chat. Right, his right arm, one bottle of that, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard is the VVS was incredible. I mean, the story is great, how they vatted it and just waited. I want to just try it at some point. That's one of those where it's just the experience I think would be pretty cool. But I kind of jumped the gun on my next bottle and put it out here.
Yeah, all good.
The last two Discovery series have been amazing. This is 12. I do prefer that to the 11, but the 11 was also delicious. And if you've got them both, blend them equal parts together. It's fantastic. But I keep going back to this bottle. This is another one that I've got a backup of just because I just love it. It's got everything that I look for in a whiskey. It doesn't necessarily hold up in a blind when it's put up against some more robust big hitters, but the flavor on it, it's got a kind of a medicinal cherry note that I love. Got a nice sweet oak backer that easy sipping and full of flavor.
Yeah, I'll tweak what he said. Like, was that like 11th place, 12th place?
Something.
Like for bottle of the year, like we each drank 300 plus whiskeys. Like, okay,
Yeah, I feel you.
Really cracked the top 10. I mean, come on, it was number 11 or number 12. I mean, it slaps. Really, really good.
12 is better than 11.
Yeah, 12. Well, 12's more. So 11's more spice dominant, and 11 I think had more fruit characteristics and sweet going on with the wood and spice. My next one is it's an old license plate bottle from Makers, BRT01. I got a handful of BRT01s and 02s I'm drinking through. If I remember right, 01 was a little more fruit forward. 02's more chocolate and dark characteristics. I'm just knocking down my open Makers stage profile bottles so I can get to my hearts.
There you go.
I'm literally trying to kill off the 2 or 3 that I have of these in the liquor cabinet that are open so I can get to the hearts. That's where I'm at. And then my last bottle will be my drug bottle.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go.
So I love that. Those are some pretty chaseable bottles.
They are. I still see some of like the BEPs in the
BEPs
in the beeps out, and when we're going hunting,
the birds and the beps.
Yeah, the birds and the beps. They're here and there. I mean, people go crazy on secondary. I'm like, if you just go to a random liquor store, you'll find it.
You'll never know when you might see them. And it was weird because it said that, the wood finishing series is done. And so everybody's like, oh, all right. And then all of a sudden they come out with this. And it's like, well, isn't that the wood finishing series?
Yeah, isn't that a wood?
And there's another one coming out soon, too, that I think is called the Keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're doing all of like their single barrel picks as well, which are like stave
some of those
based.
are
And
awesome.
I'm just like, okay.
Some of those single barrels are really good.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard good things about like the mocha staves.
Did not like that one at all.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
we
says
had
it
a
keeps
lot
getting
of
better. I don't know.
Which one?
The mocha.
It's just sometimes I don't mind the chocolate finish.
Yeah.
That's on it. And when I'm in a chocolate, like, so when I drink whiskey, it's all about the mood, right? Do I want rye tonight? Do I want sweet? Do I want like dark flavors, chocolate finish? Like, and that's what I just go grab. And when I want chocolate finish, it's either Baumburgers or it's that. It's
Hamburgers is a
or
good
else I
one.
gotta, or else I gotta go grab a Coy Hill or a Russell's 15 or something.
Yeah, so easy.
Oh yeah.
The problem I had with the mocha staves is it literally tasted like I was putting cocoa powder on my tongue. It was very drying to me. It wasn't like that rich, creamy chocolate. It was like, you know, dipping my finger in Nesquik mix and just putting it on my tongue.
Yes, absolutely.
You never did that as a kid?
Oh, I did it as a kid, but now it's
just checking.
Yeah, funny how when you get a little bit older, you start to look at the things that you enjoyed as a kid, and you're like, "Ugh, that's so bad for me." Like, or I don't love it. It's too sweet. Like, meanwhile, when you're a ripe age of like 4, you're just like downing pixie sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's glasses of water, and you've been in the desert for a month.
I used to get like the giant pixie sticks. Do you remember it? Like getting those
the
for
huge
like
ones that were like that thick.
Yeah, for like childhood parties, and I would eat like the whole thing.
I would get one of those
I
at Six
know.
Flags as a kid. That was my jam at Six Flags.
Yeah. So since we're getting close to the kind of like the last couple bottles, we did most of the shared bottles already. So Kat is at the end of her list. I'm going to save our last shared bottle for the end here. So we've been picking up some store picks lately. This is a Horse Soldier from Woodman's Market. So we have official word that this is sourced from like a legacy distillery that didn't want their name disclosed, and that they normally don't offer barrel proof for this expression, but that they decided to like do some brand equity to try to help out Horse Soldier for this. So this is a 10-year cask strength, non-chill filtered at 132.8. The other versions kind of fluctuate a little bit. I've heard people saying George T. Stagg. I've heard people saying like Stagg Jr. I've heard people say there was like one more.
Yeah, there were a few, but if you're part of the Patreon, we'll drop it in there.
Yeah. So like basically I heard that and I was like, better than Stagg. All right, I'll bite. I'll compare it to a Stagg. I'll compare it to GTS.
So we did the full lineup.
Yeah.
Like we did GTS, we did Stagg 24A.
I think so. And then we also compared it, just for the sake of trying to eliminate some stuff, to Sam Houston 15-year, because it was the closest thing that we had kind of in the same range with presumably a similar mash bill. It's probably Barton or Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Honestly. But it's pretty solid.
It is very good.
It drinks way smoother than the proof point would tell you.
Yeah. I love the Horse Soldier story too.
It's
pretty wild, honestly.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, doesn't every piece of it have like a part of the World Tower in it? Not the World
Trade Center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the bottle. I like the story. I think the juice is really good too. I don't have problems drinking any of them. Like I like them all. And if you can get a special store pick of one of the other ones, that's one of the cool things. Like last year, I really focused on what I knew I liked, and then those special store picks. When you find a bottle like that's what I go buy 2 or 3 of, right? Especially one that drinks in a classification of other stuff you like. That's what I just double and triple down on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we've tried a couple of Horse Soldier releases a few years ago, and we honestly were like a little apprehensive about it just because there's so much variation in the flavor profile. And then we realized that it's because they're basically sourcing from multiple places and then having some of those same places store either at their location or in different locations.
Where are they located? I don't even know.
Kentucky, I think.
Oh, Somerset,
Yeah,
Kentucky.
Somerset. So I like the consistency these days. Like if I'm going for a brand and I know that something that they're releasing is way different than everything else that they're doing, I like that to be called out. My only issue with Horse Soldier is none of their releases really say like, hey, this is going to be this or that.
Yeah, there's no information.
Yeah,
No.
there is no transparency.
You have to do the work yourself, which for like a truly dedicated tater is no problem. But for like the average consumer, which is going to be more than likely the kind of person that's going to try the product because they're like, hey, that looks cool, I want to try that, not knowing anything about it, not knowing what it's going to taste like, who makes it.
Right.
It's hard to build traction when literally every release is different and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like if it wasn't for the community, right, and your friends, you'd have no clue. Right?
Yeah.
Doing it on your own, it's insurmountable. You just can't do it.
You're just looking at like breakthrough bourbon, or not breakthrough, breaking bourbon constantly.
Yeah.
Like, what's getting released?
Yeah. And then you're totally throwing darts until you know your palate and other stuff or know all the back information.
Yeah.
And that's where like the friend network, like having a relationship with you all and us, like as we get to know each other, we'll know each other's palates and we'll be tell each other with high confidence, oh, this is what you're looking for, or no, that's not what you're looking for. And usually they're not far off.
Yeah.
And really, if you do find something like that, getting those barrel picks are huge because they're usually a better or a more dialed in flavor to what you like. I mean, I actually, we met you at Antioch Fine Wine and Liquors. I was actually there yesterday helping them do a rare character barrel pick. And so that's one of the cool things about getting that relationship with a smaller store is like we get involved in the process.
Yeah.
So they have this group of core customers that'll let us come in and actually work with them and do barrel picks.
That's super cool.
I mean, that's how we got our channel's first barrel pick.
Yeah.
We met Harry from D&D Spirits, or Smoking Spirits up in Arlington Heights. And then like we did a store video for him. Then he reached out to us having never met him. And then he's like, hey, I'm going to go to this like Jepson's pick. Do you want to go check it out? I was like, sure. Yeah, why not? And now we find excuses to get down to Arlington Heights. And like, we don't go around that often because it's what, like an hour and a half round
it's
trip?
like an hour. Yep. Well, 2.
Well, if you're Bears fans, you'll find an excuse soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's a good way to build rapport with your most dedicated customers or the people who support your store the most.
Yeah.
And you only really get that with smaller scale operations. You can't really go to like a Binny's or a Garfield's or like a Total Wine and be like, hey, I want to help pick a barrel. They'd be like, okay, that's cool. How much have you spent this year?
Well, and not even like how much have you spent here? Like, do you work here?
Yeah, they have dedicated teams that do that.
Yeah, there's like the Binny store you go to, they ain't picking their own barrels, right? They're not even involved in that process. And like,
we're part like we know someone who does actually do the barrel picks, but he is
two different people.
Yeah, but they are like way up there in the chain. It's not just like the person stocking shelves,
Right. Well, my last bottle, and it's basically this entire shelf. It's just old Jim Beam. Doesn't matter what it is. I love old Jim Beam. Knob Creek 18, old Granddad 16. I thought what they did last year with the Hardin's Creek series, unfortunately, I only got 2 of them.
Frankfurt,
cool as hell, where they took distillate from one day, just took it and put it at 3 different warehouses to age rick houses, and then bottled it all in the same day. And they had the Claremont, the Frankfurt, and the Boston, all 17-year Jim Beam. The only difference was where it was aged to kind of showcase the terroir. I just thought that was like a really cool experiment.
I thought they drank exponentially different.
Able to get 2 out of the 3, and they did. There was, for being the exact same juice, all distilled on the same day, all barreled on the same day, and then just shipped to different warehouses. There was a world of difference between them, but that peanut note kind of gets tamed down the older the juice gets. But man, I really do like old Jim Beam. So
Yeah,
that's my
There's nothing like it.
there really isn't. I feel like the older it gets, the more the brown sugar notes come out. So it gets less peanutty and it gets like a little more like sweet and like indulgent.
Yeah. So no better pour to end the night.
Oh yeah.
It's
Let's
even
go.
my favorite one. That looks like the Frankfurt bottle.
If there's one you're still trying to get your hands on that you haven't been able to get, just let us know. We'll keep some feelers out.
The Claremont is the one that I don't have. Was able to try it, but wasn't able to get my hands on it.
I mean,
And then they came out with the 3-bottle set where you could get all 3.
yeah, which is great.
Which was great, but it was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to pay that for 200 ml samples when I had 2 full bottles. So
Wasn't it like $150 or something like that?
No, it was even more.
It was more, yeah.
Like
I think it was
300.
Like
200.
300? No way.
It was outrageous.
It was like 250. It was pretty expensive, and it was 600 mils total, and so it was over $200. Where the 750 mil single bottles was like 180, which was
because you have the Frankfurt and the Boston, and we tried the Claremont right when it first came out, and like they're not cheap bottles. I mean, 17-year-old whiskey, they're totally worth it, but 600 mils and spending that same amount, no, not worth it. It just isn't.
Definitely not.
Like if you never had them and you want to do the experience, okay, I get it. It's really exceptional whiskey. It's some of the best Jim Beam I've ever had. But no.
I would have paid $140 for the trio set if I saw it.
At
For
that price,
$140,
I
$140.
would
That's
have
okay.
paid that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing about this market that I feel is always going to divide us. And like, not to get too tinfoil hatty here, but like the idea of the market is always set up against the consumer. And like to have all of these markets in different areas that they're like, you can pay like $35 for Heaven Hill bottled and bond here. It's $60 over there. This state doesn't get it. So it's secondary for $100. Like it's absolutely insane. And like at the end of the day, the consumer is always the one that just has to kind of deal with it. So like if Jim Beam wanted to, they could drop it for maybe 100. They could drop it for maybe $90.
They can drop it for what they want, but the distributor is going to charge.
That's not how the system works.
Yeah.
Right? That's not how the tier system works. Jim Beam sells a product to the distributors in the different states.
Sure, yeah.
Their prices, and then the distributors jack up the prices, varying rates in varying states, to the liquor stores, and then the liquor stores have to jack up their prices on top of that. So it isn't the distiller that's causing that situation; it's the distribution network that we've set up in the American economy that allows a middle layer to get their 30% cut.
It's a 3-tier system.
For sure. The 3-tier system for sure. But I mean, like the idea of how much you're actually, because I know that the distillery has to sell it off to the distributor, and then the distributor sells it back to them, and then it goes out to like the general public through various handshake deals and backroom like sacrificial rituals, whatever you want to call it.
No, I travel for fishing and some other stuff. Like I love going to Ohio for tater juice. I like going to other states for other different products that in Illinois we just don't see, and you're spot on. In those other states, it just sits on the shelf. Sits there.
To me is the crazy thing, because like let's say for argument's sake that these distilleries are selling at the cheapest possible cost that they can to still like make enough money to continue operations. And they're still like, let's say, for instance, one of the older Beam series, they're like all 200 each, right? Like, okay. So let's say they sell it for like $70, and that's like lowest possible. So for like a distributor to come in and be like, it's $200 now, or we'll sell it for slightly less than that because the retailer can make like $20-$30 off of it. Like, that's obviously like a little extortionary is being kind. But I don't think that happens that often. I think that it's usually like the distillery also knows that they're going to be kind of, jerked around by the distributor. So they're like, let's bake in a little bit of loss to this, so that way we're not losing as much when we have to resell it at our shop.
Well, if we were to roll back the Heaven and Hill bottled and bond conversation from earlier, if you think about it, when it was a kind of low supply, everyone had to pay $50-$60 to get a bottle. And now that the supply is super high, yet the demand is low, you're seeing it for 45-ish, right? Maybe lower.
We see it for like 33 regularly.
Right. Correct. So you're seeing it for 33. Now the manufacturer, distiller, still getting their price. They are not selling it for less. The middle people are pushing it out to the retailers, probably for a little less, and the retailers are probably taking the cut on their margin. They're probably the one that's losing their margin maybe the most on having to lower that bottle pricing, no different than the Benny's pick you showed earlier that they, for the red corn, that they had to cut by $30, right? It's the end retailer that probably initially is taking the hardship initially, right? Because they have to move.
They got to get it off their shelf.
They got to get it off their shelf, because if they're not turning over inventory, they're not making enough money to pay the light bills, the heating bills, and everything else.
Sure, I would agree with that. And since we've been running the online bottle store for a while, I get to look at some of like the distributor end pricing that they get, and they give us like the lowest absolute cost versus like what we can mark it up for, and we keep everything as low as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Some things are even like under MSRP, like significantly under. Like Baker's 7 for us like is basically half MSRP. And I mean, like,
that'd be interesting just to see and understand, because MSRP's got margin and profit built in. Oh, the little 13, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
And he's such
old
a
Jim
show
B.
off.
I like the old Jim B.
He's such a show off. So we'll move forward. My last bottle is the bottle that calls me. It's the drug.
Oh boy.
Oh.
It's the one I always want to drink. It's the one that I drink from time to time. There were 80,000. They say, the rumor is that there were 80,000 of these that got released. It is some of the best juice I've probably had in the last 2 years. My favorite of all time.
Oh, is that what I think it is?
Heaven Hill 17. Right, that's probably the best bourbon I've ever had. But this is in the top 5.
It's a good one.
And that's Russell's 15.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It was on our top 10 list.
Yeah.
I think it came in number 3 for us.
Same for us.
And it's just like super, super solid. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. I said it reminds me a lot of like dates, where it has like the natural sweetness rather than like an artificial sweetness.
Yeah.
It's oaky, it's balanced.
Like cherry cola.
Cherry cola.
Barrel char.
It's
It's
the
got
balance.
everything going on. It's
It's a beautiful, you hit the right word, right balance. It's just in harmony. It's really, really exceptional.
It's a delicious bottle. I agree with that.
Sure.
We probably would have put that one on our list, but when it comes to those like big ticket bottles, we try to drink them as slowly as we can to make sure we have them around. So that's why we fill them in with like other things. Like you said, if you can't have the, let me adjust this here. if you can't have what
I'll join you
you're
as
looking
well.
for,
Cheers.
all right, fine.
Yeah, no, and look at him. He's hustling. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's like,
Robert,
all right, I was done for the night,
Let
but
me
he's like,
rinse.
I didn't want to have any more whiskey, but I'll have some of that.
Well,
Well, when it's your bottle, I gotta drink it.
okay. All right. So honorable mention, definitely Russell's 15.
yeah, 100%.
Absolutely obsessed with it on a regular basis. Every time we come into this room, I know that I look at it and immediately go, nope, not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight. Tonight
It's
is
one of
not
those bottles that I want to drink every night, but I hold off and just try and share with the people that I think are going to enjoy it the most.
But when you walk in the room, right, it's calling you, and you glance at it, and you're like, "Hi, no,
Yeah.
right."
Like, I'm not looking at you. It's like the girl in the bar where you're like, oh, I am staring way too long at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a phenomenal pour. Every time I taste it, I feel like it gets better. It's elusive. It's delicious. It's everything I want an older whiskey to be, or at least an older bourbon to be, except for price point, but that obviously comes with it right now. We'll see how the market handles that in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Which, bringing it full circle, that's one of the beautiful things about Jack Daniels is at MSRP, you can't beat it.
No, absolutely.
They're like, no, we're not playing that game. We're just gonna price it how we price it.
Exactly. Yeah.
God, it's so rich, but in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah. Also, I want to say thank you for joining us tonight too. This was great. I can't think of a better way to end it with some Russells. Not that we're ending it right now, but ending what we're pouring.
I'm just gonna bookend because I'm definitely not following Russells with this Stag 24D.
Yeah, that isn't happening.
If you haven't tried this, I put the 3 of these kind of on the back end, and then with the Russells was a nice surprise that I'm happy you made.
Yeah.
These are all kind of equatable. I'm gonna move that one. This is not even close to equatable. These
what
3
are the 24D. I'm curious.
What do we think of it?
Yeah.
So I went into it thinking that there's no way that it can be that good if they're rushing it out that late in the market, that it ended up in the beginning portion of the next year. I kind of ate my words on it.
Yeah.
It's better than I thought it would be. The rumor is it's supposed to be rejected GTS barrels. I don't know if I fully believe that.
I feel like that's just the rumor.
There's always a rumor.
They're always just it's old GTS. They didn't want to put in the bottle.
Well, they already came. There was a year where they didn't put out a GTS because they said nothing made it. And so that year, every Stag was, this was the reject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 24D was, that was like a bipolar bottle for me. There were sips where I took where I was like, wow. And then sips where I took and I'm like, I don't know. It was very confusing to me. I'm still trying to work through my issues with 24D.
I think, the 24D was very good, but nothing will compare to the 24A. I think
for us at least.
For us, yeah. That one was
people.
My favorite.
Interesting. And so what I found interesting is B, C, and D all came out relatively close to each other. They weren't very different on proof. B had a weird sweet note. A lot of people got watermelon. D was more your traditional Stag, cherry or grape flavor. The one I actually liked the most was the one I respected the most was C, and that's just because I felt it was more complex. I felt like in the spice line of the whiskey, I felt like there was more going on.
For the spice, yeah, absolutely. I agree with
spice, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the A at the beginning of the year, I thought was a total fruit bomb.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's actually why we liked it. I feel like what we gravitate towards are the things that are outliers for a brand. The signature flavor profile is good, but when you're releasing 3 to now 4 batches a year, I want to see like a fair amount of variation between them. I want to see what like the start to finish kind of looks like. So A really surprised me because when we tried the last batch of 23, we were like, it's pretty good, but like it's just stag. And then the A came out real strong with like berries and like
lots of berries
and grape and like red fruit. And I was like, what is this? This is not a stag I know.
But that's like what I want the stag to be every time. But I mean, that's also a very like specific palate. I can imagine.
That's the thing is, I love stag that's a darker flavor profile. My favorite, and part of it is nostalgia. The first stag I ever got was batch 16.
That was a great batch.
But I love that batch. But to me, it's less fruity and it's more darker notes that leans towards my
That was
flavor
the no
profile.
GTS year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a question. I see the Cedar Ridge sitting there. I really like Cedar Ridge. Do you find that Cedar Ridge drinks similar to 24A?
Honestly, yeah, trading like the berry kind of fruitiness for like a little bit different of a fruitiness.
Yeah.
I definitely get like a little bit of like processed banana and like a little bit of like berry on it.
Okay.
It's definitely like very different, but very, very familiar.
I think we compared it to Old Forester 1910
with like stag's like spice undertone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I didn't get any banana on it. But to me, the thing that was most impressive of that is like that's not an old product. And for a craft distillery to taste that much like a legacy was impressive.
It wasn't edgy.
And again, American Single Malt, try out the Quintessential. Somebody in the chat earlier, I missed who it was, shouted out their Quintessential, one of their finished, I think the honey finished. That's something that I think their whole lineup is good, but the Quintessential line is good.
Yeah, we hear that all the time.
I know.
We're always like so close to buying it, but then we look at the price tag and then we look at 2 value bottles and we're like, one day.
We can get 2 things or we can get 1.
Yeah. And I lean towards 2 a lot of times. Like I
think we've lose.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, especially when there's like 2 people drinking it.
Yeah,
I feel it's
always looking at stretching out the collection.
It's playing the numbers, you know. We go through bottles a lot faster than a solo drinker would go through it. So I'm always like, it's $130 and we'll be done with it in what, 6 pours?
Well, like group pours.
Yeah, group pours. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other part, like, it also kind of depends on where you are in your whiskey journey. Like, I've been at it enough years that there's a lot of things that I just know that are going to be, it's not really my thing. Like, I know that Aaron's going to love it, right? And I might get it just so he can come to my house and drink the snot out of it, right, along with some other people. But, like, it's really about, for me, it's what I like, what's drinks exceptional, because I can respect exceptional whiskey.
Yeah.
But then all the, like, having to try everything, I've graduated past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm comfortable with it. Call me a tater. Call me a sweet guy. Whatever. Don't care.
There's nothing wrong with knowing what you like.
Yeah.
And, it looks like we, I thought you were frozen. It looks like we lost you, but
we still hear your audio.
Yeah. So we'll put your disembodied voice out, and we're coming close to time anyway. I know. I think we got some word that this is a little bit past your pumpkin time, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, so this is definitely a little late for me. But listen,
we appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on, and this was a lot of great conversation, and it was super fun to just kind of hear all of your different like perspectives, and I'm glad that
I'll always stay up to top whiskey.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for extending the invitation. and taking the time to work with us and to just letting us hang out and just all of us be ourselves and hang out and have a conversation around whiskey. I hope everyone's enjoyed it on the channel, and thank you so much for doing this for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime. And we still have that project that we want to work on with you in the near future.
Yeah.
For the like the bourbon hunting challenge.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
we'd love to work with you guys on some different things. Yep, happy to be supportive.
We just got our new tech, so we are going to be hard at work
Yeah.
the next few days.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys. I really appreciate it. Please go get some rest so you can not struggle through your shift.
Yes, and everyone that is on this channel, please give AM Whiskey a sub and be sure to like them as well and go through all of their videos.
Yeah, they're cool people. They're really great in person. They're great on camera. They're overall just really easy to talk to.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We just enjoy drinking whiskey and kind of talking about it like we're hanging out.
Yep.
Cheers to that. Well, thank you so much, guys. We'll definitely have you on again in the near future.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Keep this
you.
going.
Good night, guys. What great dudes.
Yeah, that was super fun. I always love hearing other people's like go
Whiskey
to
opinions. and-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's a lot of the thing about whiskey is that there's a lot of mystery around it. And a lot that isn't said. And that could be said about a lot of different industries, but I feel like this one is so covered in secrets just because of prohibition. There's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's always cool.
What's
to
in the
hear.
light and what's like behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, they had some really stellar picks, some bangers, like some hidden gems, a couple of tater bottles. I think we had like a nice showing between us two and them two
Yeah.
of like a nice wide range of diverse flavors and preferences, but still all kind of coming together on the idea of like, these are the notes that we like. This is the stuff that we're no longer shopping for. These are the misconceptions about like specific brands that people need to kind of get over that hurdle. So it was really great to see, somebody that's kind of in our neck of the woods that if we want to, we can just reach out to and be like, hey, what did you guys think of this?
Yeah.
And, it's always great to support the other people in the Whiskey Tube community. We've been fortunate enough to have other people do the same for us. So we wanted to extend the same courtesy, especially when people are so easy to talk to and nice and friendly.
Exactly.
For everyone that's still here watching, we really appreciate you joining us for this. This has been fun for us. I hope it was fun for you.
Go get some good merch. We just dropped it. If anyone was gone when we first said that we have new merch out, the link is in here, but we'll also put it on the Patreon for all free members so that you have access to it.
Don't know why it's doing it like that. So I'll post it one more time.
So ugly, but it is super cool. We're definitely gonna get like at least 6 shirts.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So fun time overall.
Yeah.
I always love just kind of shooting the breeze about whiskey, especially when we have other people to let us know their opinions in the chat. Just like this one, y'all put some great bottles up. Sorry, not that one. Although, bye, Russ.
Later, Tater. Bye.
Great interview. See, we're trying to do good for the community. That's been good to us. It's always the learning curve. As you start to grow, you start to face more challenges, more barriers. So we're all about trying to talk to people that are, it's not that long ago we were in their same shoes. And, we want to continue to support the people that are doing good work, just like people supported us, just like you guys do, honestly. So we'll cut this one right about now. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
We will see you in 2 weeks, and it's time to eat Taco Bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Time for fourth meal. Bye.
Bye.